Okay, so it says we're live.
Yep. Hello, Gun Nation.
What's up?
Hello,
What's
everybody.
going on?
All right, so let me just let me get back up to my pop-up screen, and then we can get this thing started. But if you guys aren't aware, we have Nolan Mindset with us tonight, which is kind of cool. So he's our guest speaker, our guest panelist, and it's really nice that he joined us. You know, we didn't expect he'd say yes. But I guess he didn't know what he was getting himself into when he said that. So he'll probably cut out on us about halfway through. But you know, it's really nice of him to join us. We appreciate it. We'd like to invite other people on that have something to contribute, and that's why he's here, because we like what he does and we appreciate his contributions to our community. And so we decided to invite him, and he graciously said yes. So thanks, Nolan, for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're talking about a couple of things. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to talk about demonetization. And Big J and KS probably have a better grasp on this than I do. Fortunately for me, I've only had one video demonetized, and that was a chat that we did probably, I don't know, 7 months ago. And it's never going to get 1,000 views, so I gave up on it. But you know, I haven't had any other issues, knock on wood, but I know you two have. So why don't you tell us what's happened, and, you know, kind of tell us what you've done. So whoever wants to go first.
You go ahead, KS.
Okay, so a lot of you may have seen the Smith & Wesson Shield 2.0 video that came out on Sunday. And what I typically do when I upload a video, and I usually release maybe one a week, every once in a while it's two, I usually set it to launch on Saturday morning, but I set it days in advance. So it'll sit there in the queue waiting, and I've programmed everything in it, including the description and links and tag words. You can use tag words as well to try and lure your victims in to your videos. And so the Shield 2.0 was kind of a surprise visitor on Saturday. I was able to get a hold of it, and I wanted to, you know, put together a video and get it out on Sunday as soon as I could after shooting it and fondling it quite a bit, all that kind of good stuff. And so I set it to release on Sunday morning, and everything was fine. And YouTube will usually tell you if there's a problem with it being monetized or anything like that. You get little symbols if you're not familiar with having videos on YouTube. And everything was fine, not a big deal. It released at 10 o'clock Central Standard on Sunday morning, and immediately it was demonetized. I had the little yellow dollar sign, which I've never seen before in a video. This is my first experience with that. And so I immediately started kind of tweaking with things a little bit and changing some words around. And I even omitted a couple of words that I thought might be a problem, because I know that YouTube uses algorithms to go through videos, the descriptions and the tag words and all that kind of stuff, and look for hate words, words that might link to terrorism, some of those things, and some of those things that I'm perfectly fine not being on YouTube, and I'm sure a lot of us are. But so I even went as far as removing centerfire shooting sports, the range that I use. I'm closely affiliated with because of the word shooting. I'm not fond of doing that. I want to support them and link to them as well. But I was just kind of playing around with it and seeing. I had no success. So for about 29 hours, that video was demonetized. So that was about 3,600 views that I was not able to capitalize on, so to speak. And it doesn't sound like very much, and it's really not, but it's, you know, it's a couple dollars here, there, whatever. But the bigger principle that I was worried about is, okay, is this now going to be happening to me from now on? Are they going to go back and look at other videos? I've heard other channels. I'm becoming a bigger believer. I continued to fiddle around with it. I was at work, and every once in a while I'd kind of peek in and play around with a word or two. And finally I deleted one tag word, just one, and it immediately monetized. It was instantaneous. And that word was actually 9mm. 9M. But here's the kicker. I went back and I put back in centerfire shooting sports. I put back in gun. I put back in a lot of words that I would have thought would have been more bell ringing, so to speak. But 9mm was the trick. So there's no rhyme or reason to what's going on, and it could be that they're still messing around with algorithms, and maybe it'll get better, and maybe this is not such a big deal. I don't like to be an alarmist, but it was very frustrating. It was a crappy experience.
It's crazy. What about you, Big J?
I had Harry's Holsters demonetized. Hopefully, can y'all hear me? Is it feedback? And I'm sorry, I'm in a hotel.
Yeah. Okay,
Harry's Holsters was actually demonetized, and I started playing around with words, and what it was pistol. So I took that out of the tag, and it went back up. Then the pumpkin carving, demonetized it. I changed some words in it. It has to do not with the title. I'm finding the tag words, whatever you put in there. Also, KS had, where my name's Big Johnson Guns and Gear. He took out the guns and gear part, just left Big Johnson, and it remonetized one of his. I mean, it's like they're just picking, and I've had a total of 8 demonetized. One was when I did that CZ Mafia way back because of the word mafia. It's just, I don't get it. And then I look at some of them, and in the titles, it's FUCK, it's all this other stuff,
Right.
and I'm just like, really?
Right.
But
now, Nolan, what about you? Have you had any issues with demonetization?
Yeah, I've actually had probably 30 or 40 demonetized, and
wow.
yeah, it might even be more actually. Now that I think about it, I probably had 2 full pages at one point that was demonetized. And I guess what I did was I still put the tags in the video description, but I took out all my channel tags that had to do with guns or pistols or whatever, anything like that. And slowly they started popping back. Now I still have probably 10 or 12 that are demonetized that for whatever reason I can't get them to come back. But taking the channel tags out actually worked pretty well for me.
Right, which makes me wonder, even if it's any of the above, because you have such a dramatic difference between the 3 of you. And I mean, I honestly, KS, I have 9mm in a lot of my videos.
Yeah.
I've got guns, I've got shooting, you name it, and none, 0 so far. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just a random thing that pops up for certain people or what. But
it's a good point. I think it has to do with this algorithm. Do It Right was saying in the chat that it's all about techniques of tags and that sort of thing, and that goes along with what all of us are saying. Mm-hmm. He also says you have to request a YouTube reconsider. So the very next morning, about 24 hours afterwards, and keep in mind, by that time it was probably 1,800 or 2,000 views, maybe more than that. So I had gone past. YouTube tells you cannot fight that until you get 1,000 views, and it has to be 1,000 views in a week. So if you have a video that just kind of chugs along and it just gets a few hits here and there, you're screwed. That video's done. You're not going to get it. But I did fight it. YouTube got back to me very quickly, but they were not able to tell me anything. And I replied. I mean, I had a conversation with someone, maybe 3 or 4 back and forths. I tried very hard to get him to come out and say, you're targeting certain channels. I mean, this makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And of course, he would not say anything whatsoever. So YouTube was not a lot of help in terms of fighting anything. They responded, but they didn't fight anything.
Yeah. Who knows? And I don't think we're going to figure it out. I think it's just something they've decided to do, and we're going to have to play with it and see what happens from there. Because what else can we do?
Yeah, we've got some questions. Does anybody know much about Twitch? And I know that Nolan was talking about it the other night on his chat, and I thought that was for like gamers, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought it was for gamers also. I didn't know you could use it for this.
Do you know, Nolan?
Yeah, actually, I was like I said, I've been looking into it just a little bit, and I know that Demolition Ranch, if you guys watch his channel, I know he moved over there after he was starting to get some strikes on his channel. And he's got all his guns videos up, and I started doing a little research and got on some forums that were like just Twitch related, and people were asking about gun content, and they said that it is allowed on the site as long as pretty much you don't act like an idiot with your guns and be dangerous with it, stuff like that. They will allow it.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Because I know that us 3 tried mines. We tried to go over to mines and kind of start that up, and man, it was a train wreck.
It didn't have a good base at that point, and I don't think it really does now. I know the KSU mentioned you were on VidMe for a while, and interestingly enough, I'm still on that, and I'm noticing some growth. But I mean, it's it's like I think I have 120 subscribers over there. So, but it helps.
I don't even know my password anymore. But yeah, and it was funny because 17 got on there, KS got on there, I got on there, and then 17 tried to get picked up by some dude, and hitting on him, and then that same guy came to my channel, started hitting on me. I don't know if he went to KS, but I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
I'm not very attractive to him, apparently.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, it was.
Let's change a little gear here.
Sure.
I also wanted to bring something else up, and then we'll get into obviously the gun talk, because I know everybody wants to talk guns. But one of the things that I read yesterday, I don't know if you guys read this or not, but the guy who shot up the school up in Connecticut in Newtown, Adam Lanza. They had this big hush hush report on him that the FBI had sealed, and so now they just released all these documents on it. And one of the things that was so glaringly obvious, because obviously now we're talking about the things that happened in Vegas and mass shootings and all these types of horrible things. And, they went through this kid's background and what his interactions were before it all happened. And I mean, if it was not a giant red flag for something bad to happen, I don't know what was. He was reclusive. His mom, I guess somebody was talking to his mother before she was murdered, said that he hadn't come out of his room in 3 months. And that, the day of the shooting, she left to go to a hotel to see how he could handle being on his own. And then the next day she came back, and that's when he killed her, but it was more than that. He was making a spreadsheet of mass killings and taking statistics on it. He was just so obsessed with these things. And yet no one around him, around the mom, ever once said, something just isn't right. So maybe we should keep an eye on this kid. And it just was ridiculous. And then of course you have the shooting, and then of course you have the aftermath, with all of the, the liberals going out there and hunting our guns for something that was solvable because of mental health problems. So again, I know there's a lot of talk about it still, and I know there's a lot of infighting right now about the NRA and this and that and everything else. But I can't say it any stronger than I can say it this way. It's not the gun, it's the mental illness of people right now that are taking these guns and doing these things. If you want to cure these mass shootings, you've got to cure mental illness first. So that's my soapbox for the night.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. I've got mixed feelings about Sandy Hook, but we won't get into that. But I don't, with this, sealed file and all this stuff, I don't believe everything that they post,
Well, this was just released. This is all a case file. This isn't just, somebody.
No, I mean, I know this. I know the kid had a problem, or it was a problem, but I don't know if I believe every bit of it. But there are mentally ill people in this world. We all know that, and people are just pumping prescriptions down them, to either change the mood this way or that way or this way. You don't know what the hell their minds, their mindset or the way they're thinking, or they're hearing voices and all this other crazy stuff. People lose their damn mind, and that needs to be fixed. Period.
All right, so I don't know. You guys want to comment on that, or you want to move on towards guns? What do you want to do?
No, I was just gonna say I agree 100%. The mental illness is definitely the issue, and with all these people taking all these different crazy medicines to cure this and cure that, like Big Johnson was saying, I think that's the issue as well.
I agree. Any thoughts, Cass?
No, not really on that. I mean, I also agree, and I'm all for trying to find ways to keep bad people away from potentially harmful things, I guess.
Okay. All right. So let's start talking about guns, shall we, gentlemen?
Yes.
So
sure.
Let's do it.
Recently, I did a report. I don't report. What am I, like 5 years old? I did a video on the P10 and how I just got it back from CZ. By the way, great job, CZ. They got it back in a reasonable time, and they kept the lines of communication open. So that's one thing that I mentioned in the video. Just thought I'd mention it again. But apparently when I made the video, I started getting a ton of comments on the video about like people just out of nowhere saying they're having multiple problems with the P10. And so I just want to get your guys' thoughts about that and see if you've heard anything about that, because it was news to me, but it is kind of interesting that it all deals with this this backplate right here. A lot of it is really generated from this piece. And of course, that's what CZ said it replaced on here. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Nolan, why don't you go first? Screw it. Screw the other two guys.
Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of experience with the P10, but actually bringing it up in some of my chats, I had, I think it was Razor, actually, if I'm not mistaken. If he's here, he can chime in on it, but he was having issues with his. I guess I haven't heard too much about the backplate until you mentioned it, but I have seen or heard a lot of reported problems especially after X amount of rounds, usually 1,000 plus,
Right.
people are reporting issues like your trigger issue that you had. But the backplate issue is new to me. I haven't seen that one yet.
Mhm.
Yeah, Sean's out in the chat, and he said he put 600 rounds through his P10 yesterday in a class, and it ran flawless.
Well, you got 400 more to go.
So my experience has been totally different. I mean, mine's been fine. I've got about 1,000 rounds through it so far, and everything's working. No big deal. I have a little bit of that play that 1776 has talked about, his experience with that, but so far it's been fine. I know that I don't remember who said it was rushed into production. It might have been Do It Right, I think. Maybe I don't necessarily know that's true. I mean, I know they had some manufacturing issues, and it could relate to what's going on with some of the findings of some of the people out there, because I think there are some consistent findings. But I'm hoping that they took the time to work this out, and these are growing pains. I mean, most guns that come out are going to have little hiccups and that sort of thing. I know it's not necessarily the best thing to say for a gun, something that you would want to be able to, defend your life with potentially, or at least have fun with on the range and it be safe, whatever. But I'm hoping it's just some minor growing pains, and they will continue to work with it, because it has by and large been a successful gun. It's hard to find them, so that means that they're selling them. I know there aren't many around, but I think it's a great platform, and I hope they continue to dial in on it.
Right.
Yeah, and Razor did chime in. He said just got in. Trigger spring is a weak point. I put 1,400 to 1,500 rounds, dead trigger, and trigger wouldn't reset.
That's a no good thing right there.
That's what I thought I remember him saying.
Yeah, it's and like we talked about, this is the first year that it's out. It's going to have growing pains, like that's been brought up, and they'll probably have revisions, and hell, they might even come out with a Gen 2, after this year or next year. Who knows?
Very possible.
So I got another question for you guys, and this really is going to apply more to Nolan and KS, because unfortunately these two guys here, myself and Big Johnson, don't have this. But the question is, do you think that there was a little bit of trickery from Smith & Wesson in regards to letting Glock hand out that Gen 5 and putting this big, it's a Gen 5 Glock that looks just like a Gen 1 plus Gen 4, and then all of a sudden, by magic, the M&P 2.0 compact comes out? So do you think that maybe Smith & Wesson had a little trick up their sleeve and kind of played Glock a little bit? Because let's be honest, that gun's super popular, man, and I want to get my hands on one super bad. But who knows if it's ever going to happen? But I'd like to hear what you guys think about that, and all three of you can chime in on that.
Yeah, I honestly, I do think they did. I think they knew that the Gen 5 was coming and waited to release theirs. And the way it looks to me, it's definitely winning, at least for me. I'm a big Glock guy. I mean, most of you guys probably know that. And I really don't have any urge to go with the Gen 5, but I'm super excited about the 2.0 compact. Love it so far. I don't have a boatload of rounds through it yet. I need to get it back out and shoot it, but so far I'm really liking it. And after getting this, my urge to get a Gen 5 has gone down even more.
Interesting. What do you think, Cass?
I would definitely agree with that, and I think that that Smith & Wesson, if they had any inkling that Glock was coming out with the Gen 5 this year, which I'm sure they probably did, I'm sure they have inside information all over the place. I think they timed that well, and they probably timed it to where they could see some of the reaction of people. And although the Glocks were running off the shelves pretty quickly, I mean, the sales are proving that that people are certainly buying them. The reaction has been the opposite. A lot of people have been either whatever, who cares, and other people have just been absolutely not thumbs down. But so I think Smith & Wesson played that very well. But I've been kind of curious, based on my experience with the comments in all of those videos, whether Smith & Wesson or Glock. All that feedback with Glock, with the who cares or it kind of sucks, versus the Smith & Wesson, everybody is championing it. However, with both guns, these are incremental changes. Neither one is a dramatic cry from the previous version, whether version 4 or version 1. They are just minor tweaks of various sorts. So neither one is necessarily exciting. So I find it just kind of funny that people are so excited about Smith. But I agree with Nolan. It's been a fantastic gun so far. I've been very impressed. I too am kind of a Glock guy a little bit. And the Smith is kind of making me reevaluate that a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that you know, like in my line of work, you know, I look at other competitors, and you know, there's all kinds of stuff leaked out. There's sneak peeks. There's, you know, hell, we even go take pictures of some of their stuff, and they do this also. So Smith knew that it was coming out. They knew what it looked like. Everybody, you know, it wasn't some, you know, under cloaks thing.
Right.
And I think they just waited for their proper amount of time to pounce, and they did, you know, and I think that the way they did it was very good. You know, you got to give them kudos to that. So, and I think they're going to take some market share for sure.
That's good. That's good stuff, guys. I agree. I agree with everything you said on all parts. I think that the Glock, you know, I like Glocks, you know, my Gen 4, I love it. But I said right off the bat that Gen 5 just did absolutely zero for my interest in Glock when I can get as good a Gen 4. On top of that, the M&P beats the price of the Glock by over $100. So you're getting a good gun, good ergos, maybe not so much a good trigger shoe, but a good trigger for cheaper. So I mean, you know, how could you beat that? So I think they really did a damn good job on that gun. To be honest with you, it's pretty much the first time I've been super excited for an M&P in a while. So I look forward to maybe one day owning one of those, but who knows? We'll see. So I got another question for you, and Nolan, we're going to start with you because I want you to talk more so that, you know, since you're the guest, we'd like to have you speak.
Sure.
The PPQ. Now, a lot of people know that, you know, I've always been just Mr. PPQ. I love the gun. You know, there's not much I can say that's wrong with it, but I'll be honest with you. You know, I went shooting it this past weekend with a few other handguns that I own, and it was the one gun that I shot the worst. And I think it was just because, you know, I'm shooting the P10, the Glock 19, and there's definitely a noticeable difference in the recoil. It is snappier. I mean, the trigger is still, in my opinion, the best on the market. I think that's where it always will win. But I'm wondering, do you think maybe that Walther needs to maybe just come out with a slight tweak of the PPQ to kind of rejuvenate it, to kind of give it a little bit of, you know, a little bit of a breath of fresh air, so to speak, maybe redesign it slightly and give it something a little bit more, and I don't want to say modern because that's not the correct terminology, but maybe a little more modern look to it, a little bit lower in the hand, something like that. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I would agree. Now, I know when the PPQ came out, of course, you know, it was the hotness. It had that nice trigger in it, and had the market there for a while because of that. But like you said, a lot of new stuff has came out, a lot of new innovation has came out, and it's kind of fallen behind a little bit. You don't see, of course, as many videos on it, people praising it. People have kind of moved on, and maybe in an M3 or whatever, a version 3
Right.
coming out would probably maybe strike people's interest again. But I agree, the trigger is still fantastic. I am very impressed with the trigger on it, but I think a new version would probably do some good for it.
Hell, I'd even be happy if they redesigned the P99 because that gun is fantastic too.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that one, Mike, or Big Johnson, or KS?
Well, which one is it?
I don't know. Just take a take, damn it.
Johnson, you take this one.
I mean, I really like the PPQ, and I said from day one, you know, I was a new PPQ owner, and I thought out of all the guns that I owned, the muzzle, it did have some muzzle snappiness to it. It's not really snappy; it's a 9mm, but it did have the muzzle rise versus some of the other pistols. But I think it's a fantastic gun. Fit my hand very well. I wish it was, you know, I wish it had a 17 round sized grip, but I mean, it's a great pistol. The trigger is phenomenal. You got to give it that. But they haven't done anything to it, and it's well overdue for a revamp. I was hoping that they would do that. You know, and I've got the green. I know you have had the tungsten and stuff, and you know, at least they changed a little of the colors and mixed it up a little bit. But you know, and then they've got, you know, the new Q4 Tactical, which is basically a Navy edition with the RMR cut on it. That's basically kind of what it is. And I don't think that was enough to really get people excited about it.
For me, I'm not as big of a fan of the PPQ. I really enjoyed the Q5. That was a lot of fun, especially with the red dot on it. I think it's a great shooter, and the trigger on both of them. The triggers are fantastic for sure. But aside from the PPQ, it's got the ergos going for it. The ergos are those in the VP9. I think are second to none for ergos. But I agree with you guys in that the slide it's just a little big, it's a little tall, and for me it's just a little bit more flippy. It's not quite as controllable, doesn't look as good on camera, and I frankly don't enjoy shooting the PPQ very much. I just don't. It's not as much fun to take at the range. There are probably 5 or 6 other guns that I would put in front of the PPQ without question, if I had the choice. And that's not to say it's not a good gun. I like the PPQ, but for whatever reason, I'm not in love with it. Never have been.
Yeah. Now, as you were talking, I was looking at some of the comments. In all seriousness, 88, he says, I would like a Baby Desert Eagle if it had a decocker. It actually does.
Yeah.
The Baby Desert Eagle 3, you can get in the semi-compact or the full-size steel or polymer, but those come with decockers. The one that does not is the IWI Jericho.
Right.
It's basically the same gun, just without the decocker.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cool guns.
So what else do you guys have for me? Because that's pretty much my list of things I wanted to kind of cover with y'all. So you tell me.
Like me now.
I know I've been hanging out with you too much. That's a bad thing. But just out of curiosity, what are some of the other things that you want to talk about? Do you have any other things you want to bring up gun wise or whatever? You tell me.
I do. I do see some people in the chat asking about Springfield and if you guys would buy those. I guess I don't know if you guys have touched on that or not, but
no, go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
My thought, I guess Springfield makes good guns. I've shot quite a few of them. I got quite a few videos up on the channel on them. I think they're good guns, but I guess after kind of how they did their stuff over there in Illinois, I probably won't buy another one just because. But I think they make good guns. But I probably won't be buying one.
Right.
Yeah, and they did make a very poor business decision. We all know that, and then tried to cover it up. But I look at it this way: if people had the guns, and I saw a lot of this on YouTube, you should take all your Springfields and sell them for $1 and all this other stuff. I mean, you can't be ridiculous about it. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
What?
Internet's weird. People were like, oh, you should just sell them or give them away or all this stuff. Don't be fanatical about it. But me personally, if I had one, yeah, I would probably keep it if I liked it. But to go out and buy one, I won't. I have no use for it, and I don't believe in their business philosophy, or what they did to people. So that's my opinion.
What do you think, Harris?
So I think it's an absolute struggle, and I've been watching some of the comments and some of the reactions, and I totally get where everybody's coming from. A lot of people have said they would never buy him. Scott said Springfield is dead to me. I know Pops feels pretty strongly about it, so I totally get that. And the majority of me, the brain part of me, says absolutely. I'm 100% with that. I want to buy from manufacturers who support the Second Amendment and gun rights and champions that no matter what. Part of me also says separate the gun from the manufacturer because I enjoy good guns, and there's a selfish part of me that wants to still be able to enjoy good guns. And Springfield has some good guns. I don't know that I would feature one on my channel anymore because I feel strongly enough about what they did, and I disagree enough that I probably wouldn't. However, it's too bad because they have some really good guns. The M&P, some of the XD line, like the Mod 2, that was a pretty good gun. The XDS, some of their rifles. I mean, they have some good stuff. So it's. Damn it, Springfield! Why you've made it so difficult for us?
Their 1911s were nice too.
I mean, to be honest with you, if I walked into a store and there's an M1 there that's the right price, I don't give a shit who it's made by. I'm buying it, period, because I want that gun. But I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to pick up a Mod 2. I had a couple of Mod 2s, and I liked them. They were good guns. They shot well. You know, I know they're a little bit slide heavy, a little, you know, slide height, but they weren't bad. I mean, you know, everything was good. And as Do It Right said, you know, it's a Croatian gun, you know, with Springfield stamps on it, you know, but
Yep.
I also would think that, you know, everybody's like, oh, Springfield this, Springfield that. But remember, there's a lot of hardworking Americans who work for Springfield, who unfortunately are going to be the collateral damage to this. And,
Yeah.
you know, take that into consideration as well. You know, that just because some rich guy who owns the company decided to do a dirtbag move, you know, you really got to think about the workers there too, because they've got families to feed, and they do produce a pretty good product. Not saying that I excuse what the owner did, but you know how it is, man. It's usually the owners that screw everything up for everybody else. So, you know, under consideration as well.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah, there's definitely more ways to look at it.
Yep.
Right.
Let's see.
That is true.
And now we got somebody bringing up the Grand Power Excalibur.
Oh, I wonder who that is.
No, that's actually, it's not Baldy. It's actually somebody
It's
else.
not Bald?
No, somebody else.
Bald said Grand Power.
Did he? Oh, somebody else said the Excalibur. So I don't have much experience. I don't have any experience with that manufacturer at all, and I don't really want any, to be honest with you.
No, I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as Grand Power, I mean, Bald was nice enough to loan me the P11. That was a good gun. That was a fun gun to shoot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a pain in the ass to take apart and put together, no question. But it's a fun little shooter. Feels really good in the hand.
Well, and I think the Excalibur is an incredible pistol, but you know, I have too many of those types, and I'm not saying I won't ever get one, but you know, there's always a chance.
Wicked obviously is
Think there's
checking out my body for some weird reason. He's saying that looks like I stopped working out. I'm getting close to winter time, man. I'm starting to hibernate. That's why.
So Nolan, as far as ARs, what do you have a favorite? Do you have? I know that you build a lot of them. Do you have a favorite brand that you prefer? I hear you talk about Spike's Tactical a lot. I mean, do you really like their stuff, or is it just kind of a whatever you grab and stick together?
Well, I mean, Spike's, at least around here, is very abundant. So I mean, it's kind of a convenience thing. But I like their stuff. I've always had good luck with it. You know, they make high quality stuff, and so I just always run it, and it's always worked well for me. But I do like BCM and Daniel Defense probably just as much. But I like to build, like you were saying, and you know, Daniel Defense and BCM don't really offer as much to do that with as Spikes does. And normally when I build, I'd like to keep parts similar, you know, same manufacturer as much as possible, just to keep everything working good. So so Spikes is a convenience thing, but I also think it's high quality, and I really do like it. So Spikes, BCM, Daniel Defense, those are normally my my go-to. Now there's a lot of other good ones out there, of course, but those three are kind of like my top three.
Now,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question, you know, because I am not an AR guy, so I'm going to pose this question to the people who are on the panel, or even in the audience that's watching, all 5 of them. So my question really is this: do you think you really need an AR? I'm not saying that I don't want one, and I'm not saying you should not have the ability to own one, but I mean, like for me, I'm in hell up here in New York. You know, we have to modify them. You know, it's just beyond stupid. So, you know, as a result, I've turned to other rifles, semi-autos. You know, I've got the Mini 14 that everybody gave me a hard time about, but the thing shoots straight and it shoots pretty well. You know, I just got the SKS, which I love. You know, and I wonder if sometimes we get caught up on that whole idea of got to have an AR when there's so many other, you know, options out there, maybe not as affordable or price conscious, but, you know, maybe just as good. So I just want to know what your thoughts are on that. You guys tell me what you think. Anybody?
Yeah, well, I didn't know. I didn't want to interrupt. If it shoots bullets, I should have a right to have it, period. So, you know, I like ARs. I mean, I think they're fun. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do with it, kill hogs with it, stuff like that, blink, target practice, whatever you want to do with it. There's not a lot of places around where you can't shoot over 100 yards, in some areas where I am. But, hell, I won't give them up. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I'm a big fan from a distance. I've never been like a hardcore rifle guy. I've owned one AR. Some of you guys have heard me tell that story. Franklin Armory. It was a very nice rifle, but it's not exciting to me. Handguns to me are far more exciting. I just prefer them. I've been around them all my life, and they get me far more enjoyment. I'm a lot more excited to be around handguns than rifles. So do I want them around? Absolutely. I think all guns should be around. But as far as me personally, I'm a handgun guy. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, of course, if you watch the channel, I really love ARs. Probably my main passion with guns is building them. That's probably the most fun that I have is building them, but I do more with pistols. It's just more convenient and easier to do things with pistols. I don't have a long range out there where I shoot, so it's hard to do anything, I guess, super fun with them, because I mean, to really get potential out of the AR and see the accuracy you can get, you need a little bit of a longer range. And I'm really maxed out at about 75 yards where I shoot at. So it's really hard to have a ton of fun with an AR, but so I mainly stick with pistols, but I do love my ARs.
Interesting. Yeah, I just, I actually was looking at getting an AR this summer, and I asked Coda Boy 32, what his thoughts were for something affordable. I didn't want to spend a crazy amount of money on one rifle, so he gave me some tips. I went out, I found something that I guess was what he recommended, and I called my local FFL up and I asked him, how can we get this here in New York? Blah 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 blah. So long story short, the AR I was looking at was about $400. So again, like I said, nothing high end or anything like that. But he said that if he was to bring that rifle into his shop, I'd have to spend like another $250 just to modify it for New York State. So I was like, yeah, totally not doing that. I'm not going to spend almost $700 on a $400 rifle just to make it compliant. So, that's kind of the thing that sucks about it, and on a side note, it's kind of interesting because I know a lot of the people who follow the channel and these two other guys on the panel know that my odyssey of trying to get a couple of handguns that I bought like 2 months ago is still continuing. It's going on 5.5 weeks now. I still have not gotten my magical tickets from the county, so I can pick up 2 handguns that I bought 2 months ago. It's insane.
No, they're coupons. They're coupons.
Coupons.
Hey, we do have a question.
As a matter of fact, I actually emailed the girl that works there and just saying, and I know she can't do anything about it, but I'm saying to her, I mean, this is worse than being a criminal. If I'm a criminal, I can go out and just get a gun whenever, wherever, without any background checks, without any nonsense. Here, I legally purchase something. I work, I pay my taxes, I don't break laws for the most part. And of course, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I still have not gotten these damn coupons and coupons. And so as a result, I'm just so aggravated by it because, you should not have to wait this time, this amount of time to buy, or not even to buy it, to just get it. And I think that's where, and I kind of digress a little bit more, but I think that's where I kind of get a little bit of a cringe when everybody starts either, supporting certain gun organizations and everything. And I've tried to say it a million times that, in New York, we have, and Baldy knows this more than anybody because he lives up here, but we do not get any support from any gun organization. It's usually the local grassroots organizations that are going out there to Albany to petition, to, issue their grievances, and they go nowhere because we don't get the big money, the big bucks to support what we want here. And we're not talking about criminals. We're talking about ordinary average Americans who, technically are waiting anywhere from 45 to 60 days to get a handgun in certain counties. It's insane.
Yeah,
it really is
crazy.
insane.
We do have a question. In all seriousness, 88, kind of on the same question as the AR. He said, does anyone need a shotgun?
Oh, God, yes. Shotgun, in my opinion, is one of the best multi-purpose tools you're ever going to own, period.
Exactly. I look at it this way. If I'm trying to clear a home or something to that effect, now, of course, in different areas, but I feel a shotgun is, very, very useful for something like that. especially for just say an average shooter who's not super experienced. Now I know that, you're dealing with the same thing as far as the length of a barrel with a rifle and an AR if you're trying to walk through a home, but you got a little less miss chance with the shotgun, some slugs, or even a good bird shot. I mean, you can take somebody down, and it's not going to go through your home, into your neighbor's home, and possibly into the next home.
Yeah.
So that's my feeling. I mean, plus for hunting, I mean, you can kill, birds. You can do a lot with a shotgun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
I guess. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, give me your reply.
No, I was just gonna say, as far as the shotguns go, they're definitely probably one of the most versatile guns out there. I mean, with the change of a load, you can go from shooting deer at longer ranges or shooting birds or whatever, and home defense and this and that. I guess I just never really been big into them. I bought a few. I had the 590A1 for a while, and it was a great gun. But I guess shotguns just don't do much for me. But that's just me.
What about you? Did you respond, KS?
I have not responded yet, so I was reading a couple of comments. I'm certainly a fan of the shotgun. I've owned quite a few over the years and competed with shotgun years and years ago. So I like them. I think like 17, like all of you guys have said. I mean, it's a versatile tool, and it can serve a lot of different purposes. Concealed carry notwithstanding. So yeah, I think they're great to have around for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a question for the panel. We've got ARs, we've got shotguns, and we've got pistols. Okay, let's just go with those three. Out of those three, what do you think is the most difficult to shoot? And there's a meaning behind this, and I just want to get y'all's opinion.
What do you think there, Nolan? What are your thoughts, man?
I guess, are you as far as being complex and being able to shoot it, or being able to shoot groups with it, or
right? What do you think? I guess. What do you think is easier to shoot? What do you think is more difficult to shoot? Just kind of give your opinion on those three, like shotgun, rifle, and it doesn't have to be an AR. It can just be a rifle and a pistol. What do you think is the most challenging?
I guess I would probably say that the pistol is probably the most challenging to do everything you need to with it. I guess the longer guns are kind of easier to handle, easier to shoot, especially like an AR or an AK or anything like that. I guess it's easier to be accurate with it. It's easier to control it, stuff like that, especially when we start buying smaller guns for concealed carry and things like that. They get harder and harder to shoot. Accurate, reliable, stuff like that. So I would have to say it'd be rifle, shotgun, then pistol. Rifle being the easiest, pistol being the hardest.
Okay. What about you, KS?
I'd say shooting from the hip, pistol. I definitely think all of them take technique. All of them take a variety of different fundamentals. I think pistol is. However, I say that with a caveat, and you guys may agree or disagree with that. I'm endlessly fascinated from a distance at long range shooting, and I don't mean long range shooting like a couple hundred yards. I'm talking a mile. I'm talking extreme distances. There, perhaps the tables turn for me a little bit, because then we start talking about complex math and science and understanding physics and barometric pressures and all that kind of thing. And
I'm just talking average. Yeah, I'm not talking distance shooter.
Shut up. Let me finish. God. Anywho. So I say pistol with a caveat because of that. So anyways, thanks for stealing my thunder. I appreciate it.
Let's see. The hardest
thing. What do you think, 17?
The hardest thing to shoot? I think it's a damn shotgun, man, to be honest with you. I think just because the kick of shotty and the fact that, if you're not used to that, just to get accurate with it. And when I say accurate, people say, just put some buckshot in it. Yeah, okay, thanks. But, I'm talking just to try to control it, the controllability of a shotgun. I don't know about you. I remember the first shotgun I shot, and I wasn't shouldering it correctly, but my shoulder paid the price because of it. And I think that in itself is enough to cause difficulty. I think second, most difficult is probably pistols, because again, it all depends on techniques. Like I always say, I'm a right-handed pistol shooter with left eye dominance, and I got to say that's a big pain in the ass. And if anybody understands that, you'll know what I'm talking about. And just trying to hold for the recoil. Again, I think Nolan brought it up where he said the smaller the gun, the more difficult it can be. Obviously the bigger the caliber of bullet, the more difficult it can be. I think rifles for just the average guy, I think, are so easy to shoot. When I took that Ruger out and I just was hitting steel 200 yards out, it was effortless. Basically, point, shoot, boom. So for me, I look at it from that standpoint. Shotgun, hardest; pistols, moderate difficulty; and rifles, easiest.
Now, from my experience, I think pistols are the most difficult because you're not bracing them. You're having to stretch out. Your arms act as a brace, but with the shotgun itself and the rifle, you're bracing it up against your body, and you have a longer sight radius, of course. And I find pistols that's why and I can shoot a shotgun, I can shoot an AR. And I'm not like the sniper, don't get me wrong, but I just find pistols more of a challenge for me. Holding your arms out, pressing out, getting the sight picture, and then putting it on target. That's why I focus mostly on pistols. Just for me, that's my opinion.
I want to turn around your question. Which of those three is the funnest to shoot?
For me?
For all of you, which one do you like shooting the best? You enjoy it. It just brings kind of a rush out of those three types of platforms.
Honestly, pistols for me.
What about you, KS?
Pistols, without question.
I agree. I'm pistols as well. I like.
Oh man, I thought you were going to say ARs, man.
No, actually, I enjoy shooting the pistols more. I guess I like building the ARs more, but shooting the pistols.
That's cool. Very cool. Yeah,
what about you, 17?
I'm a pistol guy. I like shooting pistols because I like going there and just sucking, and then getting better as I go on, and then I can say, oh, I actually improved. Till I go the next time and start off sucking again and then improve. But you know how that is, KS, don't you?
Plus, you can have like 5 or 6 pistols on you. You pop in your leg rig and all that stuff, and you can just go to town and have them all over you.
So we got Bald and Curious saying, obviously we like to shoot our mouths off mostly. Bald, I hate to tell you this. This is called a chat for a reason, jackass.
Yeah. All right. So I guess since we got over that, what is your favorite caliber? I know what everybody's probably going to say, but what's your favorite pistol caliber, rifle caliber, and shotgun caliber?
I guess for me, 9mm for pistol, 5.56 for rifle, and 12 gauge for shotgun, for sure.
What about you guys?
Cass, what do you think?
For handgun, 9mm, and for shotgun, 12 gauge. For rifle, I say 50 BMG. I think it's so much fun to watch those things destroy everything. I'm a big fan of Demolition Ranch, so I like watching anything that he destroys.
Very, very, very practical caliber.
Yes,
it is.
Yeah. About you, 17?
For me, 9mm, 12 gauge, 7.62 by 39.
Cool. Yeah, and mine is 9mm, 12 gauge, and 223, 5.56. Probably that's probably my favorite. And I like 308 too, but if I had to pick, it's 5.56, 223.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix of answers in the chat. However, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of 10mm, a lot of 10 gauge, 7.62 by 39. I mean, it's a wide variety out here.
Indeed.
Yeah, 10mm. Yep. What's the most powerful shotgun you've ever shot?
Just a 12 gauge. That's all I've ever owned.
Is it?
Yeah, same for me, 12 gauge.
What about you, KS?
10 gauge, one time, won't ever do it again. It's more than I can. That was not enjoyable. It just wasn't enjoyable.
I was 11 years old and shot my grandfather's 10 gauge goose gun. That's got like a 80-inch barrel, and of course I'm joking. And man, it knocked me on my butt. And I actually still own that shotgun.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, so we're in our final 10 minutes. So let's, if anybody out there has any questions, start asking them now so that we can, kind of answer whatever we can with what little knowledge we have. For me, like I said, I'm still waiting on several handguns. I'm looking forward to getting some of them. Actually, all of them, to be honest with you, because, some of them are new to me. Some of them are kind of rehashes again, because I have issues with selling things and then buying them back. So I look forward to, doing something with some of these handguns, because some of them are going to be pretty cool additions. At least I think so. At least I hope so. But, it should be interesting. So I already see there's one question, which is an interesting one, and by Peter Murphy. And he's asking, Civil War when? So that's a great question. So are you talking about Captain America versus Iron Man Civil War? Or are you talking about North versus South? Liberal versus conservative? What are we actually talking about in Civil War? Antifa or what? What do we? I don't get it. It says actually do it right. It's asking if we have anything we want him to ask companies at SHOT Show. Not really. I don't know. You guys have anything you want him to ask? Yeah, ask them if they can send me some free stuff, man. That'd be great.
That'll work.
There you go.
There you go.
I'd be okay with that.
There you
go. Coda Boy is asking me to say Steyr 10 times real quick. All right, let's see if we can count. Steyr, 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 Steyr. Boom, 10, done.
Okay, you did.
Next.
All right. So anything fun and exciting, Nolan, coming up on your channel?
Actually, I've got somebody sending me a 10mm to try out here soon. I
bet I know who that is.
You probably do. So I'm eager to try that one out. I've never shot 10mm, and everybody who has it or has shot it does nothing but praise it. So I'm excited to try that out finally. Got that. I got that AR pistol I'm going to be putting together here soon when I get some more parts in, and then other than that, just kind of going about it.
Nice.
Very good. What about you, KS? What new gun are you buying tomorrow?
If all goes according to plan, the Hudson will arrive tomorrow, but I highly doubt it. I am hoping that we see that in the next couple of weeks. I'd like to see this Strike B. I don't know that I'm going to commit to that yet, but it looks kind of cool. I am more interested in Hudson. I want something a little bit more unique, and the Strike is cool, but it's polymer gun. We've got a lot of those around, so that's it. That's all on the radar for the rest of the year, and then after that, I'm taking a few weeks off.
Not a bad plan, man. It's what I did. Felt great. What about you there, Big J?
I have something in here.
Hair products?
That will be coming.
Tampons?
And it's not a bag of weed.
That's a kilo of Coke.
No, well, it's probably big enough to be. But I've got something in there. Got some shooting videos. And I did a test on the lock grips. I have the flat ones, and I also have the large palm swell. And I have them on different guns. And I did grip testing where I changed the flat ones to the large palm swell. And you'll actually see the test. It's pretty interesting. So that's going to be coming.
Nice.
So
is that it, or are you going some more?
Well, I mean, other stuff, but I've got a whole pile of stuff on my desk. I'm sure y'all probably do too. I'm trying to catch up on stuff.
I don't have anything on my desk. Nothing at all. That's a lie. I got a holster from Harry's Holsters, so I'm gonna, show you guys that at some point. And it's really nice so far. I mean, it looks really good, and I haven't had any issues with it, so that's pretty cool. Just taking it day by day for myself. Period. I'm not really going to be doing anything big or grand. Like KS said, sometimes it's time. You need some time to walk away and get those creative juices flowing again. So we'll see how that plays out. One of the things that I wasn't really told it, but it was kind of insinuated in the conversation I had with somebody at Walther, because I had, there's somebody in the company there that I talk to, I don't want to say often, but, semi-often, and I'll email them and, we'll kind of just talk a little bit about their firearms and stuff. And he had asked me what I thought about the Q4. And I told him, Yeah, I said it was nice, but unfortunately for somebody like me, I can't buy that because of the threaded barrel. And I said I was really hoping for something more in the lines of a PPQ with the size of a CCP, only with the PPQ trigger and that and this. And his only response to that, which I felt was sort of interesting, was be patient. That's what he told me. So I'm wondering if at some point Walther's going to be coming out with something around that size, which would be friggin' awesome, because that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Just something a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit thinner, but we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Hopefully they come out with something great, but who knows? You never know. And then, I know that SIG is coming out now, and they're doing all the work on guns that were being recalled. I guess they're asking for certain ones right now. I haven't heard anything, but then again, I did sell mine. Mine's gone. I decided I didn't want to keep it anymore. It wasn't worth it for me because I didn't shoot it that much anyway. So we'll see how that plays out with SIG, and that's pretty much it. I've got the Strike B coming, which is going to be pretty sweet when and if it ever gets here. They were saying it was going to be shipping at the end of this month or possibly the first 2 weeks of November, but we haven't heard anything. So, we'll see how that plays out. But other than that, same old, same old. So
yeah, and I've got the 320, and I haven't even filled out my paperwork yet because I'm kind of I want to really see when someone gets it back from SIG, maybe like Alan or one of those guys, what officially they've done to it, what this new trigger looks like. Is it going to be gold or black polymer, or, is it really that different? I kind of want to see some of that before I just throw it out there, but I'll be way back in line since I didn't get my paperwork done fast.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing is this gun right here, Apex is sending me the flat face for this. So I can't wait to install that. It should be pretty sweet. Can't wait to see how
that'll be awesome.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Hey, real quickly, well, we still have a big pile of people in here. I know everybody feels the same way. A couple of things. First, huge shout out and thanks to Nolan for joining us. This is an honor and a privilege and a pleasure. And what a great guy. Super fun to get to know, and always welcome back on the chat. That's been just awesome, and also everybody for coming in and joining the chat. I mean, this has certainly been the biggest audience we've had, and what a great crowd, and bringing some people over from Nolan's channel that we've all got to know a little bit over the past few weeks. That's been a blast too. So I just want to say thanks to everybody. This is a little bit mind blowing and humbling. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, heck, the Gun Collective is on here.
Hey, Gun Collective, what's going on?
No hate, guys. No hate right now. Okay, let's just keep it calm and peaceful in the room.
I was gonna say, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, I did want to say just kind of what KS was saying, and just say thank you, Nolan, for joining us. I think we've all been fans of your channel for a long time, and obviously you're a much in a higher echelon than we are. In regards to subscribers and everything. So we always appreciate it when people, kind of take that chance and just hang out with us. Because like I said, in my opinion, this is the community. It doesn't necessarily have to be 10 million subscribers, but, this is, in my opinion, the grassroots of the community. We're just honest people making honest videos and just talking what we like to talk about. And that's firearms and just trying to keep it as real as possible. So we do appreciate you being here tonight, man. It's just awesome. Appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. It's been a blast, and like you said, hopefully we can do this more. It's been fun. I really do enjoy this, and thank you guys for having me come over and all this stuff. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely, anytime, man. You're welcome anytime. So in other words, we're not saying this should be a one and done for you unless you want it to be.
You're gonna boot me out now.
We've had some of those. Trust me.
Yeah. No, but we appreciate you definitely being on. It's good to get a different input. We've had some people on before and had some great feedback, and we can continue to do this more. And of course, we appreciate the viewers on your channel, our channel, and a lot of them, we have on each. But if you haven't subscribed to everybody, please do. Our subscribers to Nolan, back and forth. I mean, we all have the same likes and joys, and that's what we want to continue growing the community.
And the Gun Collective was asking, what's the topic of tonight? So since you're new, we'll kind of give you a really quick rundown. We only run for an hour because we figure that's all of our audience that can take of us. So we try to keep it straight to an hour. Maybe one day we'll go to an hour and a half, but right now it's just an hour, and we talk about basically anything the panel wants to talk about, anything the people want to talk about. We try to keep it gun related, not politics, not craziness or anything like that. And that's pretty much where we go. So 1 hour every Wednesday night. Feel free to join us next week. It's every Wednesday. Next week, I think it'll be on, is it on your chat, KS, or?
KS.
KS. We rotate. So it'll be KS and Big Johnson, then back to me. So it's 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Feel free to join us then. Ask us what you like, and we'll respond. All right. Hey, guys, thanks again. Appreciate all you being on, and we'll do it again. All right.
Thank you very much. Carry on, everyone.
Y'all have a great night, and thanks for having me on again, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Later.